Hi, you Simon.
Excuse me, everybody, while I just check the technology works, so there's no problems later. Excellent, thank you. I'm ready. I'll be quiet now.
Hi, you Simon. Do well. Hi, Samantha.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well.
Good, good. We're just gonna wait a few more minutes. There's still people at the meeting. All right.
I'd like to say, be so fucking worried about what people think of you.
Wait, how do I? Hi everyone. We're going to start in, I think, just a minute. Thank you. Hello everybody. Can you hear me? Clear? Okay, fantastic. Great. Thank you. We're going to start. I wanted to say thank you all for joining us today. I hope everyone is keeping well and healthy. My name is Livnat, the Masa Israel Journey representative in South Africa. Joining us today from Israel is Simon Cohen. He's the co-founder and admissions director of the Aardvark Israel program. And later on, you'll be hearing from Benji Pincus, Aardvark Israel alumni, who will share his experience. Also joining us today is Samantha Beth Alvarez, who is the admissions and marketing coordinator for BINA International Programs. Hello, both of you. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for inviting us.
Lovely. It's our pleasure. Thank you. So first, I want to say is what is Masa? Masa is a global leader in immersive experiences for young diaspora Jews. Masa Israel Journey is an umbrella of many programs. Yeah, hello? I think you need to be you need to mute. Somebody said something. Okay, never mind. Let me carry on. Masa Israel Journey is an umbrella of many programs, including academic studies, Jewish studies, volunteer and career development programs. Our programs are between 5 to 10 months long. Every year, thousands of young Jews from all over the world participate in an in-depth and authentic experience of Israel, where they work, grow personally and professionally. The immersion into Israel society, a connection to the roots, culture, and professional growth they experience on these programs contribute to their personal development, their Jewish identity, deepens their relationship with Israel and the Jewish people. Masa also offers automatic and generous subsidies to South Africans. The grants are between $3,600 and $9,100, as well as including is housing, health insurance, visa, internship placement, and more. I will be happy to design an authentic and productive experience in Israel for you. And for any other information you would like, I'll be please feel to contact me. I'll be posting my details in the comment section. And yeah, at the end, we are going to answer any questions as possible. Please feel free to stay with us after the presentation. Now, without further ado, Simon Cohen from Aardvark Programs, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, good evening, everybody. Thank you for the invite, Livnat, and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Simon Cohen. I am one of the founders and the admissions director of the Aardvark Israel program. I'm going to present to you the different programs that we offer. We actually offer 3 different programs for South Africans to come on a gap year to Israel. And then you're going to hear from Benji Pinchas, one of our graduates, who's going to tell you about the program. His brother also did it as well, so that always gives you, a good indication that the family enjoyed it. And in the chat right now, I'm going to post a link. In the chat right now, I'm going to post a link so that if you do want more information, you can follow up with me. I can follow up with you, and you can give me your contact information and I'll follow up. So please feel free to leave me that information in the link. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and we'll get going. So the Aardvark Israel program offers gap year programs in Israel for Jewish students from around the world, aged 17 to 21. We've lots of different partners that we work with in order to put our programs together. So we're offering for the South Africans 3 different programs: the Aardvark Israel Gap Year and Semester Program, our Tech Track, which is also known as Big Idea, and Masa Year of Service. I'll talk about each of those in detail. We'll do it in the order I just said, and you'll see how they integrate in everything else. And again, I'll also be around after the end of the evening to answer questions, or again, fill in that link and send me your contact details, and I will be happy to get in contact with you afterwards. First of all, the Aardvark Israel Gap Year program. It's our premier program. It's our flagship program. It is currently the biggest gap year program in Israel, and potentially the biggest gap year program in the world. We've had many South Africans on it. It is a very customizable program. The idea behind the program is you get to come to Israel and pick and choose from the menu of opportunities we offer and build the version of the program that works best for you. It's not based on your parents. Hold on. Sorry, I got muted for a second. It's not based on your parents. It's not based on your school. It's not based on a youth movement, but it's based on you as a young adult and what you want to do on your gap year program in Israel. So we offer, so starting with, we offer different length programs. So you can come for a 4-month semester program, 4.5-month semester program, for example, from January to May. You can then stay and do and then you can do a 7-month program. And that means work, we send you to work in an American Jewish summer camp in the Israeli summer between June and August. And then if you want to take it into an 11-month program, you can then come back to Israel and be whichever city you haven't already been in. So if you start the program in Jerusalem, then go to America to work in summer camp, and then you can come back and do a semester in Tel Aviv as well. And that makes it an 11-month program. So you have different length programs you can choose from. In terms of the program itself, a few things that make us unique. One is we have one of the best staff to student ratios of any programs in Israel. So for those parents listening to us, that means your kid is well supervised. We look after them, we take care of them. There's madrichim that live in the same building as the students, and our ratio is about 12 to 15 students to one madrich or madricha, which is an excellent ratio and better than the vast majority of programs in Israel. What it means for you students is that we can offer this tailor-made modular curriculum. We can offer this element of customization where you can sort of go off and build the version of the program that you're interested in. And we're not worried about you getting lost in the system because, again, each madrich is only looking after 12 to 15 students. Another thing that makes us unique is our international student population. This is a great opportunity to break out of your Johannesburg or Cape Town or wherever you're joining us from today, your South African Jewish bubble, and meet young Jewish students from all over the world on our program who are doing and having the same experience as you. We also strive to find the right balance between structure and free time. And based on the feedback from our students and parents over the years, we've really worked hard to find the good balance between those two things. Now, I mentioned before our international student population. Our students are coming from all over the world on our program. So if you take this year, for example, we have around 300 students on the program, and they're coming from South America, from North America, from all over Europe, Australia, South Africa. Sometimes we have really random places on the program as well. A couple of years ago, we had someone from Swaziland. In South Africa, that might not be such a big idea, but for me, coming from England and living in Israel, I had no idea where Swaziland even was on the map, let alone the fact there are actually Jews living in Swaziland. So that was pretty cool. We've had Jews from the Philippines. We've got somebody signed up next year from Bolivia, et cetera, et cetera. It's a really incredible opportunity. Imagine yourself coming from Johannesburg and you're living in an apartment. There's you, there's a kid from Sao Paulo, another kid from Melbourne, Australia, a kid from Antwerp, kid from London, and a kid from New York. When else in your life are you ever going to get to live with such a wide variety of people? And that's just your apartment, let alone all the other apartments in your building. And so meeting these people is definitely a highlight of the program. And you can certainly, maybe Benji, our alum, will talk about that in a few minutes as well. In terms of our location, it doesn't get better than our program. We're based in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. In Tel Aviv, we're in the cool neighborhood of Florentine, which is a really great neighborhood. And we'll talk about that in a bit more detail in a second. And in Jerusalem, for those of you who know it, we're right next to Machane Yehuda in the Nachlaot downtown neighborhood. So you're pretty good location as well. It's a very trendy, lively, both of them are trendy, lively kind of neighborhoods as well. In Tel Aviv, again, Florentine, it's a 10-minute walk to the beach. It's really near Rothschild Boulevard, if you know that. Nachalat Binyamin Arts and Crafts Fair. In the daytime, it's the height of the spice market. And in the nighttime, it's full of bars, restaurants, cafes. And the beautiful thing coming to Israel on a gap year is it's okay and safe to walk around at night. If you're fancying sushi at 11 o'clock at night, go out, go get some sushi at 11 o'clock at night. No problem. Perfectly safe, perfectly entitled to do that. And I think if you ask, any of the graduates of our program who've come from South Africa, being able to go out at night and walk around freely and feel safe was a really amazing opportunity for them and felt like a breath of fresh air and a lot of freedom and independence as well. In Jerusalem, we're in the Machane Yehuda neighborhood. It's about a 10-minute walk to the old city of Jerusalem. It's right next to Ben Yehuda Street. It's right next to the Shuk, the market, as I already mentioned, and it's really near Gan Sacha as well. So really phenomenal locations. Now, on our program, you're living in apartments in the middle of those cities, as I said. They're fully furnished apartments. You can be however religious or irreligious you want in the apartments. We have apartments that are Shomer Shabbat and Shomer Kashrut. We have apartments that are kosher, but not necessarily Shomer Shabbat. And we also have apartments that are not kosher and not Shomer Shabbat. And that way, everyone can be comfortable religiously in their apartment because their apartment is their home and everyone can be comfortable in their home. Beyond that, we have 3 to 7 students in the apartment, depending on the size of the apartment, the amount of bedrooms, the amount of bathrooms, how big and nice the overall apartment is. They are nice, beautiful, comfortable apartments. And the ultimate goal of living in apartments is we want you to live like a local. We want you to be and become a young, independent adult on our program. We want you to learn life skills, how to cook, how to clean, how to do your own budgeting, how to do your own grocery shopping, how to do your own laundry. And so you're going to learn all of that on our program. Don't worry, most people have never done any of that before. So we're certainly going to help you. We're going to run all sorts of workshops and help you grow up, move out of your parents' home and live as a young, independent adult whilst you are on our program. The sample weekly schedule, or the core program for Aardvark, is split in between sort of 3 major aspects of the program. Internships and volunteering, which take place Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday for the bulk of the day. classes, which take place in the mornings before those internships, and Monday and Wednesday afternoon too. And every Tuesday, the entire day is set aside for our field trips. Weekends in Israel start Thursday night and run through to Sunday morning. Weekends on our program are predominantly free, but we do have some optional Shabbatonim, a couple of mandatory Shabbatonim, and there are some activities going on the weekends that you can come to. Every evening there's activities going on as well. Some are optional and some are mandatory. To get into a little bit more detail about each of those things, one of the highlights of our program is our internship and volunteer program. On our program, we have over 150 options in each city for you to choose from. So no matter what you're interested in, we almost definitely have something for you. So whether you want to work in a high-tech startup company, political think tank, NGO, TV, radio, newspaper, interning with a fashion designer, with a jewelry designer, in a law firm, an architect firm, maybe you're interested in have a sports placement or museums or art or dance studios, music, whatever you want. We have it. If you want to go the more volunteering kind of route, it could be in schools, kindergartens, hospitals, old age homes, working in a soup kitchen, working with an archaeological dig, working with survivors, survivors of terror attacks, working with Holocaust survivors, victims of terror, whatever it is. If you like working with animals, you can work in a vet or in a therapeutic riding center or the zoo or an aquarium. Whatever you want, we have it for you. And it's a great opportunity to have meaningful positions in amazing companies. To do some networking, to build up your resume, to meet and interact with Israelis on a daily basis. And it's a great opportunity to really get some professional development, some career development, and again, be fully immersed in Israeli society at the same time. Beyond that, we have classes going on. Now, our classes, for those of you maybe thinking of studying in Israel afterwards, our classes are accredited and transferable to the majority of schools, also in the States and Canada, but also in Israel as well. Many of our South Africans actually continue on to IDC in Herzliya, and IDC actually accepts the credits from our program. So it's up to you whether or not you do classes or credits. I would say 50% of our students do, and 50% don't do the subjects. Whether or not you're doing credits, everyone on the program is doing Ulpan, so they're learning Hebrew and improving their Hebrew skills. Beyond that, we have Jewish studies classes, Israel studies classes, more secular style classes like business, politics, history, geography, literature, and we have non-academic style classes like yoga, creative art, creative writing, podcasting, an influencing course, spoken Arabic, and go on and on. But there's loads of different classes to choose from, and you choose how many classes you do, which classes you do, et cetera, et cetera. So you build that part and that component of the program beyond the Hebrew in terms of making and choosing which class you do. Minimum of 3 courses per semester, maximum of 5 courses per semester. But those courses are much dependent on you. We have small private classrooms that are in walking distance of our apartments, and so you are there. So it's a nice connection with the teachers, and they're small, intimate, private classes. Students usually kind of love them. Beyond that, every Tuesday we do field trips all over Israel. Now, most of our students have been to Israel multiple times before, so we don't want you to feel like they're repeating the things you've already done with your family or your school with other people. So every week, what we try and do is take you off the beaten track to what we like to call the hidden gems of Israel, those secret places that tourists don't know about. Even Israelis don't get to the places we go to, and that's every single week of the program, going to these amazing places all over Israel. Plus, every semester, we're doing 3 overnight trips where we spend a few days in the Golan Heights, the Galil, the Negev Desert, we do Dan Desert, we do a kibbutz seminar, so you get a little bit of a feel for what kibbutz is all about. And that's over the course of the program, you really get to see the length and breadth of Israel, but not like a tourist would see it, much more like a local would see it. Every evening there's activities going on. Some are optional and some are mandatory. It could be anything from Jewish learning with a campus rabbi to going to local sports events, concert, art exhibits, street festivals. It could be doing paintballing, rock climbing, social activities, cultural activities. There's always something going on, and it's predominantly up to you whether or not you choose to come. We do have apartment meetings once a week. It's our time to check in with you and make sure you're happy on the program, that you and your apartment flatmates are not killing each other, and that you're getting on, and that your apartment is a clean and hygienic place to live. Beyond that, there's a lot of other activities going on as well. Due to the fact that time is of the essence, I'm going to move on. Again, I'm happy to answer questions, and I posted in the chat a link. So if you want to leave me your information, I will follow up with you afterwards and answer all of your questions. This was the core program, but if you want to customize your experience further on the Aardvark Israel program, we have all sorts of add-ons you can do. Now, the add-ons cost extra money, so bear in mind that they cost extra money. You should only do them if you're genuinely interested in them, but also if it fits in with your family budget as well. We have special interest add-ons. These meet one semester in one of our cities, or except for Mada, which meets both semesters. So one of them is called Sea Sports. It's exactly as it sounds. It's doing all sorts of speed sports once or twice a week in our second semester in Tel Aviv. We have Mara, which is volunteering with Magen David Adom on the ambulances as a paramedic. We have Marva, which is 2 months of basic training in the Israeli army. We have an entrepreneurship add-on, which is different workshops, guest speakers, and field trips, all to do with the entrepreneurship in Israel. And that is in the first semester in Tel Aviv. And for those of you really into extreme sports and extreme activities, and you need your adrenaline fix whilst on your gap year program, we have the Aardvark Extreme program, which takes place in Jerusalem in the first semester. A little bit different from all of that is our Cellular Jewish Enrichment track, which is for those people who love the idea of our program, but want more opportunities for Jewish learning and spiritual growth in a non-coercive and non-judgmental environment. This is not a strictly religious program, as in there's no, davening 3 times a day or strict dress code. We want to increase your knowledge about Judaism and for you to make your own informed decision about what it means to practice Judaism and to observe your Judaism. So we run all sorts of activities. Once a week, instead of internships, you have a Beit Midrash style learning. And once a week, instead of internships, we have what I like to call the living Midrash, which is saying it's all well and good coming to Israel and learning, but if you're in a classroom all day long, you're missing the whole point of being in Israel, because in Israel, you can learn by doing and by experiencing. Israel itself is one like learning laboratory. So we go on Tanakh Tiolim, which is different hikes, connected stories in the Tanakh. We do different Jewish workshop, Jewish film workshop, Jewish dance workshop, a Jewish photography workshop, a Jewish art workshop, etc., because we know that people can connect to Judaism in different ways and not necessarily through text and shiurim, etc. We do all sorts of stuff around the Chagim, around the Jewish festivals, and we do unique Jewish trips as well. My favorite of which is called Diving for Tchelet. And I don't have time to go into what that is, but if you're interested, let me know afterwards, ask me the question, and I'll tell you what Diving for Tchelet is as well. We also have on this program Shabbat Turim every single month in different communities in and around Israel as well. If you're looking for even more adventure, we also offer international add-ons. So whilst you're in Israel, we offer short trips to different countries around the world whilst you're here with us in Israel. In the first semester, we go to Ethiopia, Italy, and Germany. And in the second semester, we go to Spain, Czech Republic, and China. Each of these trips is 5 or 6 days long. It's usually long weekends. And on those trips, we have 3 main goals. One is to see the main tourist sites and the culture of the country we're in. Whether that's the Great Wall of China, the Colosseum in Rome, a Barcelona soccer game, or flamenco dancing in Spain. Sorry, I meant the Colosseum. Yeah, all those kind of things are the things we're going to do on the trips. But we're also a Jewish educational program. So we want to learn the Jewish narrative in each of these countries. And if you look at the countries we chose, each one has a very different Jewish story to it. And so we're going to interact with the Jewish community in each of these countries to understand the Jewish story, the Jewish narrative, the Jewish history, and whether or not the Jewish community sees themselves as having a future in any and each of these countries as well. We are also a Zionist program. So in each of the countries we go to, we do a seminar with the Israeli embassy, where we usually get to meet the ambassador, and we do a whole seminar learning about the relationship between Israel and each of these countries individually. And the more countries you go to, you get to understand Israel's place in the world and Israel's place in the international community. You can pick no trips, all the trips, one trip. It's completely up to you. On each of our trips, we have anywhere from 20 to 30 people usually, sometimes a little bit more. But that means there's over 100 people still in Israel carrying on with the regular program. So don't worry if you choose not to do these trips. The regular program is still going on. If you want to try something a little bit different, we have our Nepal Cultural Exchange program, which is for people really interested in volunteering in Tikkun Olam, changing the world and making it a better place. We paired up with Tebel B'Tzedek, an Israeli humanitarian organization. They have projects all over the third world, and we've paired up with them specifically in Nepal for now. And we do a 2-week program in a Himalayan mountain village. That means after doing a 3-day seminar in Kathmandu, learning about the customs, culture, and language of the Nepalese people, we go out into a rural village in the middle of the Himalayan mountains, and we live in a mud hut or a wooden shack with no running water, no electricity, there aren't even real toilets, and we volunteer wherever the village needs us to volunteer, building greenhouses, irrigation ditches, painting schools. We do cleanup campaigns, women's empowerment campaigns. We've established youth movements, all sorts of things like that. It's a really incredible experience if you're into that kind of thing. While we're there, we do some trekking in the foothills of the Himalayas, because you can't go all the way to Nepal and not experience a little bit of the Himalayas. And we do some touring as well. That's the Nepal Cultural Exchange program. Very different from all of those things is Poland. We do a trip to, Poland, the March of the Living. Most people know what that is. Looking at the Jewish history of Europe and Poland specifically in the 1,000 years up to the Second World War and its eventual destruction in how and where it happened in the Second World War. And then we catch a glimpse of the rebirth of the Jewish community in the aftermath of the Holocaust, of the Shoah. And finally, for those of you who want to extend beyond a 4.5-month program, in the Israeli summer between June and August, we send you to work in an American Jewish summer camp. We paired up with NJY camps. It's the largest Jewish summer camp in America. They have over 5,000 campers spread over 8 camps. We have camps with younger kids, older kids. They have a special needs camp. They have religious camps. So there's loads of camps to choose from, and each camp has dozens of jobs to choose from as well. It's a really incredible experience. Just ask Benji at the end when I finish speaking. And whilst we're there, you know, it's great. You're in America, so we do a tour of New York City and a tour of Washington, D.C. You have some free time to see your friends you just made on our program, and it's a really great opportunity to do that. The final slide of this presentation is that our early bird special, if you're interested in our program, if you sign up and pay the deposit by June the 15th, you get one of these trips for free. And the deposit is fully refundable until November the 1st. So it doesn't have to be your final commitment. And you can ask for your money back if you want to. That is the Aardvark Israel program. Different from that is our big idea gap year. And this is our tech track. And before I go into it, I'm just gonna have a drink of water. Excuse me a second. Our tech track is for people really interested in technology and want to learn about technology from the experts in Israel. So we paired up with Big Idea, who are the tech experts in Israel, to run a program with them that caters to the people interested in technology in Israel, in high tech, and wanting to learn the skills and knowledge and make the connections and do the networking in order to be effective in the world of high tech, not only in Israel, but all over the world. Now, this program is integrated into the overall Aardvark Israel program. It's a group of like-minded people doing their special technology course and program within the overall Aardvark Israel structure. And I'll explain that now. You have three lengths of programs you can choose from. The first is a 4.5-month program in Jerusalem, which includes a coding course, which I'll explain in a minute. The second part of the program is called Impact Month, and that also takes place in Jerusalem. And the third part of the program is doing an internship program in Haifa with a high-tech startup company. So you can do a 4.5, 5.5, or a 9-month program on the Big Idea program. It starts in Jerusalem. And for those of you who were with me since the beginning, you can see that this looks almost exactly the same as the Aardvark Israel schedule. But the one big difference, instead of doing internships or volunteering, in the middle of the day, everybody's doing the coding course on the Big Idea tech track. I'll explain the coding course in a minute. The other major difference is the tech tour, which takes place on a Sunday afternoon. The rest of the program is the same. They are fully integrated into all of our classes, our field trips, our evening programs, etc., etc. But the main difference is the coding course and the tech tour. They also live in the same building with the Aardvark Israel students in the same apartments. They're still learning life skills in the apartments, how to cook, how to clean, and everything else. But the coding course is what makes it unique. And here we send our students to study in downtown Jerusalem. We have a technological college, which is very well respected in Israel. They're going to do a certified course, which they'll then be able to use and show to high-tech companies all over the world. Again, it's a very well respected college and course. They're going to learn all the skills they need to do web development, mobile app development, and everything else. A bunch of stuff that, to be honest, I, as a kind of Jewish educator, don't really understand, but HTML5, JavaScript, a bunch of other letters, I've got no idea what it means, but it's all good coding language in order to give you the skills and knowledge you need in order to walk into jobs, in order to make a difference in the high-tech world. And so that takes place 4 days a week from around 10:30 to 2:30 in the afternoon, Sunday, Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. The other great thing about this program is the tech tours. Tech tours take place on Sunday afternoons. And that's our opportunity to take people to these large multinational companies that have really made it in a household names, but also to small, tiny new startups in high-tech incubators to learn what makes these companies tick, what made them successful, what's going to make them successful, how do they succeed, how do they succeed in the high-tech world. And this is a great opportunity for learning from the people who've managed to make it, learning from people who have dreams and turning those dreams into reality, learning from the people who are making Israel the startup nation, and at the same time do some networking and be inspired. And that's what the tech tours are all about. And they take place every Sunday afternoon and evening. In the second part of the program, in the month of June, we have what's called Impact Month. And this is a month-long hackathon where we pair you up with a charitable organization or a non-government organization. And you spend one very intense month learning all about this company or this organization, and then helping them find tech solutions to make their company more effective, more efficient. It's an amazing opportunity. And at the end of the program, the big reveal at the end, we invite the mayor, we invite all sorts of dignitaries, and you get to make a big, hey, this is the tech solution, or tech solutions plural, we found to help this charitable organization be a more effective organization. And it's a really big deal, and the students love it. So they take the skills they learned in the coding course and they put them into action for a charitable organization. And in the second part, or the last part of the program, they then do it in a high-tech startup company. Again, there'll be classes in the morning and field trips on Tuesdays and tech tours on Tuesdays. But the main difference here is that Sunday, Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, they will be in an internship all day, most of the day, from 10 to like 4 or 5 in the afternoon, in a high-tech startup company, using their technological skills in a real and challenging environment, in an office environment, building up their resume, networking with the best Israeli high-tech developers and entrepreneurs, really, networking, getting professional development and career development in the high-tech field on a level that nobody else their age is getting. And it's a really fantastic, unique, and amazing opportunity as well. On this program, you also get to choose from our international add-ons, but you can choose a maximum of 1 trip per semester, because we don't want you to miss too much of your coding course or too much of your internship. That's the Big Idea high-tech program that we offer. And again, they also have the early bird special of 1 free trip if you pay the deposit by June the 15th. So plenty of time, but I'm just making you aware of it. Our third and final program is something completely different and not remotely connected to the Aardvark Israel program in terms of the programming itself. Here we've paired up with IVA, the Israeli volunteer organization, who are the largest providers of Shirut Lumi, which is a national service in all of Israel. So here we're actually offering Shirut Lumi, national service, to diaspora Jews. Shirut Lumi is, for Israelis anyway, is after they finish secondary school or high school, whatever you call it, after matric, they do a program of social service where they volunteer their time and their knowledge to the sectors of society in Israel that are the most vulnerable, that most need help. And so we're going to be doing it in the areas of health, education, welfare, and coexistence. So this is an opportunity for diaspora Jews to come and do this Shirut Lumi, this year of national service. And they'll be fully integrated into Israeli society as a result of that. It's a 10-month program. For the South Africans and Australians, it's from February to November. They will meet and interact with the group that's already here from the Northern Hemisphere, and also meet a second group that will come in the middle of the year for the second half of the year. They'll meet a second group of people. We'll interact with plenty of people from all over the world whilst they're on our program. And the program itself is based in Haifa. So it's a 10-month program in Haifa. Now, Haifa is one of those cities that's often overlooked by tourists. People swing by the Baha'i Gardens, and then they move on and they carry on further up north and, go to Akko and Nariya and Rosh Hanikra, and they don't do the rest of Haifa. Haifa is one of those most amazing cities in Israel. It's one of the largest cities in Israel, has amazing beaches, has a great nightlife. It's got amazing history. It's the center of coexistence in Israel with all the different religions being represented there and getting on pretty much harmoniously. And it's an amazing, amazing city and place to live. It's got a huge student population as well. And our students will be living smack bang in the middle of that student population in apartments. Now, the same as our other programs as well. On this program, they're going to be learning life skills, cooking for themselves, cleaning for themselves, doing their own laundry, budgeting, shopping, learning to live with people who are potentially different from them. But they're living in fully furnished apartments in an amazing neighborhood in Haifa. On this program, as opposed to our other programs, they're actually getting a stipend each month to live off. So it helps them to afford the food and the living expenses and everything else as well. Now, volunteering takes place 4 days a week for 8 hours a day. So it's close to a full-time job. And that's why you have to be really serious to do this program. You have to be really interested in volunteering in hospitals or in schools or in kindergartens or in coexistence NGOs, which is where we're offering the placements. These are going to be amazing placements beyond any other gap year program you can do. This is really going to build up your resume way beyond anything else, and hopefully in a field, in a field of your interest as well. Now, we're not just going to throw you in the deep end. We're going to do on-the-job training. We're not just going to throw you in a hospital and expect you to know how to do all sorts of procedures. They're going to train you so you know what to do, so you can be useful. We're going to go, in the terms of schools and kindergartens. So again, we're not just going to throw you in a classroom and say, get on with it. We're going to give you training in the Gordon College of Education, which is one of the premier educational colleges in Israel, focusing on new style education, new age education. It's a phenomenal place, absolutely amazing. And then the coexistence NGOs, again, they're going to train you in order so you can have a meaningful experience there. But again, you need to be committed to volunteering 8 hours a day for 4 days a week whilst you are doing this program for 10 months. So you're going to make a real difference in Israeli society. 1 day a week is set aside for our enrichment activities. And that would be hikes, that would be tours of different places around Haifa, but also further beyond as well. That will be when we do Hebrew and Ulpan study. That'll be when we do any other educational seminars, different Jewish identity seminars, different activities around the Jewish festivals and the Chagim, different Israel seminars, Israel advocacy seminars, all sorts of things like that. They all take place 1 day a week. The rest of the days are spent volunteering. The beautiful thing about this program is that it's actually much cheaper than the vast majority of gap year programs. The cost is $13,500 US before your Masa grant, so it will become significantly cheaper once you get the Masa grant. The requirements of the program are to be self-sufficient and motivated person, wanting to volunteer, wanting to make a difference in Israeli society. And if you have conversational Hebrew, then obviously that's a huge bonus as well, but it's not mandatory. That's all 4 of our programs that we offer. Again, in the chat, I posted a link so that you can find out more information about our program. I'm going to stop talking now and hand over to, I've been talking for quite a while, but I'm going to hand over to Benji, who is one, if he's listening, I hope he's listening, who's one of our graduates, and he can tell you about he did the Aardvark Israel program, and he can tell you all about the Aardvark Israel program, which version he did, camps, everything else. So Benji, over to you. Don't forget to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. First of all, just if you do want to speak to me privately, I'm sure Simon can get a hold of me. So just text down at the link, or just private message me on Zoom over here. I can get a hold of you over there. So Simon did like the bulk of it. So first of all, I just want to explain what I did. So I started with Tel Aviv. Then I did the summer camp, and then I did Jerusalem. And I want to speak about 3 things because I don't want to bore you guys, but if you want to hear more. So I first want to speak about the independence, which is crazy. I loved it. So first of all, I don't know how to cook. I don't know about you guys. I only knew how to make cereal. But now I know how to really cook. I know how to use the oven. I know how to use the stove. So I have a ton of experience over there. And you really, jokes aside, but you really get to learn the independence. And like, I feel comfortable going out on my own and without my parents. And like, it just gives you this independence, this freedom that probably you won't ever feel in your lifetime. Like just going like as Simon said, 11 o'clock was early to go out and get sushi. Like 1 o'clock in the morning and things was, we used to just go out, chill, go to the park. It is crazy. The beach is amazing. In Tel Aviv, we went to late night beach sessions. There's also fires going on the beach sometimes, bonfires. It is incredible. And another thing with independence is it's not all good. Sometimes you have to overcome problems by yourself, like problems in general society, like roommates and all of that. And obviously, if you can't come to a compromise, you have a lot of guidance. You have a lot of madriks, and they very cool. The madriks, they're not like your teachers or something. They very cool. They're your friends. You chill with them after class. So that's what I want to speak about with independence. Second of all, I want to speak about making new friends from all around the world. So first of all, I came in there with no one. I didn't know a single soul. And I suffer from terrible anxiety. I'm sure I've said this to people before, but like I'm petrified speaking in front of blank Zoom faces. So you can, if I could make friends, I'm sure every single one of you over here, even the parents, can make the friends. My parents are very good friends with my friends from Aardvark, but there's nothing to worry about. Aardvark guides you through that very, very nicely. First day I went, we did some breaking the ice things. We all got together for dinner, and you get to know each other immediately, like honestly, immediately. It takes a bit of time to settle in properly without your parents and everything, but it eventually comes, and you never want to leave. May is where you break down in tears. The next thing I want to talk about is the internship. Um, the internship, I want to tell you a little bit about my internship. So I interned at a place called Julicious. It's a place in Jerusalem. They make Jewish content, and it was so much fun. It was like content creation. We got to make like yoga videos, filmed yoga videos, yoga classes. We got to do donut tasting in the shuk, and we filmed that. We wrote a couple of articles. If you want to see some of the videos, go on to the Jewish version of YouTube that we created called YouTube. And it's truly insane. My boss was insane, so much fun. He took me on outings, even after hours and things. We did a ton. Yeah, and like I basically became family with my boss, and I still speak to him today. He's also really crazy. He's very well known on Twitter, and he trolled the whole Westboro church, which is like a very alt-right extreme church. And he did that on Twitter. He got actually someone, he actually got someone out of the Westboro's church. Another thing, the international program. I would highly recommend you sign up now if you are wanting to go on to the international program. I did Italy. It was so cool. I got to see the Colosseum, the tour of the Colosseum, but also you get a lot of freedom as well in the nighttime. It's yours. Get to explore Italy. Don't worry about mobile data. There's Wi-Fi everywhere. I'm talking about everywhere. And it's like, I don't want to spoil anything, but also your Madriks are there. They super duper cool. What else can I speak of? The summer camp, very important. I loved my summer camp. So first of all, I'm a bit religious. I'm Orthodox, and if you also want an Orthodox apartment, a kosher apartment, you got that at in mainland Aardvark. But in Camp Aardvark, I went on a religious program, Camp Nesher. It was so cool. Different to Habonim or whatever. Habonim, B'nai, I'm not sure what else there is there, but these kids are spoiled because they get like water sports every day. You get to go on the boats, get to make international friends over there as well. They get all these crazy activities. They get professional basketball players to come teach them. I mean, I couldn't tell you about basketball, but they knew them. They were cheering. Famous baseball player. It's very fun, and you also learn a lot of responsibility. Like, to the parents listening here, I'm sorry that you have children because they are impossible. No, I'm kidding, but the kids are very, very cute. So I would highly recommend going on the camp as well. You get paid. That's a perk right there. But generally, just learning wise, I honestly can say that I've learned a ton from Aardvark. Like, I'm a lot more confident now. As I said, I suffer from anxiety. I still suffer from anxiety, but I'm a lot more confident. I have, my self-esteem is a lot more up. You find friends all around the world. You break out of the Jewish bubble. You feel this freedom that you've never ever felt before. And you just feel on top of the world, and it just really helps your development. You feel focused. I'm now in university, and I don't think I could have gone without a gap year. So if you do want to speak to me about specific things, I'm always happy to talk, but this was the best year of my life. I'm not even getting like promoted to say this. Like, I honestly did this voluntarily. So I can't actually thank the Aardvark staff enough, even though I paid. So I just, if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me through Simon, and Simon's more than willing. I've spoken to a few people. I'm more than happy to speak to you for hours on end. I don't want to bore you too much, but goodbye, everyone.
Thank you, Benjamin. That was great. Thank you for joining us as well. That helped a lot to hear about your experiences. Up next, I would like to call Samantha, who is the Admissions and Marketing Coordinator for Bina International Program. Samantha, welcome.
Hi. Thank you so much. I'm going to take you through quickly a little bit about our gap year program. I will try and be quick about it. First of all, I want to let you know what Bina is. Bina is a nonprofit in South Tel Aviv that focuses on, well, we call ourselves the Jewish Movement for Social Change. What this means is we look at Judaism from a secular, modern perspective, and we're really focused on making an impact in our community. Our gap year has 2 tracks, a mechina and a shnat shirut, and I'll talk a little bit more about what those are in a second. But for both tracks, the 3 main components, or the 4 main components really, are learning in a secular Jewish style, social action, community and leadership, and Israeli immersion. And both of our programs, our international participants become part of a really Israeli environment. This is because the 2 tracks are essentially usually pre-army programs for Israelis. The Mechina is kind of a preparation course for the army, and it really emphasizes learning and leadership alongside the Israelis. And the Shnat Shirut is more service-oriented and focuses on social action and leadership. To start out, the Mechina is called our Leap Mechina. It's in partnership with a GCC and Z3, both out of California. And the way this works is that we have a group of international participants, about 15 of them, who are inside of our Israeli Mechina. So the Mechina in total is 60 people, and one group within it is international. And this group lives together, and they take courses together in English. And these courses focus on Judaism through a unique secular and Israeli perspective. Our Mechina this year has classes such as Hebrew music and Midrash and theater and Jewish peoplehood, which is a class that looks at Judaism both in Israel and throughout the diaspora. The Mechina also volunteers with at-risk youth in the community, as well as other populations within the community of South Tel Aviv and beyond. And then another way that the Mechina the Israeli and the international participants interact are in teams. This is one of the main ways that our participants build a lot of their leadership skills. They work together in small groups to manage different parts of the Mechina. For example, a team might plan a trip to the north, or manage the kitchen, or manage the garden, or be involved in recruitment. And this is all kind of to further integrate both the internationals and Israelis together and to build those leadership skills. And we call this the Leap Mechina because throughout the year, there's a cohort of the international participants along with Israelis who apply to be a part of it, who take courses together in English. And then during the year and about the middle, a little bit after Pesach, they travel together to the San Francisco Bay Area where the Hoffman Family JCC is located to continue this Jewish learning and social action and exploring Jewish peoplehood together in the diaspora. So that's the Mechina basically. And the second is the Shnat Shirut. The Shnat Shirut is much more focused on volunteering, and it's a much smaller group. It's about 12 people. Half the group is international and half the group is Israeli. And they have 2 volunteering placements, a morning and an evening. The morning are diverse. We have a bunch of different places. Some examples are there is a participant who's volunteering with an organization that helps refugee and asylum-seeking women start businesses. There's another participant who works in a remedial art high school. And we work with the director of the program to get everyone into the right fit for them. And then in the evenings, all of our participants work at different menashim, which are like youth centers for kids who can't go home right after school. So it's essentially planning activities for them and being an extra support system. This group also takes classes on the Bina campus in South Tel Aviv, just a little less frequently, about 2 days a week. And this program really requires a high level of autonomy and a high level of responsibility because you really become indispensable to your volunteer placements. So those are what differentiates the 2 groups. And then I want to talk a little bit more about what's the same. The core of the learning is the same in both. Both programs have Ulpan at a variety of different levels, from complete beginner to native speaker. And then you have classes that are focused on Jewish values and Tanakh, but really looking at these things from a secular and modern perspective, classes about Israel, history, culture, and then of course, trips around Israel. There's the navigation trips and then kind of basic weekend trips, really always together with the Israeli and the international participants. So not very birthrighty in that sense, more kind of the trips that all Israelis would do in that year before the army, which is what I'm just talking about here. So we go, of course, up north to the Golan and the Galilee, and down south to the Negev, Jerusalem. We go and see the different borders. And we really are focused on kind of the diverse populations within Israel. And of course, like I said, hiking, camping, navigating. And the way this program works is that every other weekend, both the Shnashru and the Mechina are together. So for the Mechina, that looks like being on campus for programming throughout the weekend. When the Shnashru, they're a little bit more independent. They plan their own activities, but they would be together. And then the next weekend, they're free to go visit family, go travel. The participants are often invited to the Israeli homes for Shabbat on free weekends. You have a little bit of both. And then to speak more about what social action looks like for us, in the Mechina, that's weekly volunteering, focusing on the refugee population in South Tel Aviv, but also the elderly, the environment. Peace is a really big issue for us. And then, of course, kind of those everyday social activism things. So protests, participant-led community involvement. If there's something you see that you want to make a difference in, we really empower participants to do so. And finally, like one of the core aspects is that this is a really communal program. You're living together in a group in both settings. The Mechina has a little bit more oversight on campus. All your meals are on campus, and of course you're with the whole Mechina all day. And in the Shnashru, it's very cooperative. So you're making your decisions as a group and making plans and planning your budget, those sorts of things. So finally, who we're looking for people who are not really looking to be on vacation. They're looking to have a meaningful, impactful, and authentic Israeli gap year. People who care about social justice, people who care about being part of Israel and strengthening their Jewish identity and developing strong leadership skills. And then finally, tuition for the Mechina is 20,000 USD and 17,500 for the Shnat Shirut. This includes full room and board, bus pass around Tel Aviv, all of the classes, activities, trips, your basic health insurance, of course, English-speaking staff who's dedicated to your group, and then, of course, any volunteering we do, any trips we take, the whole community being on campus, all of it. So that's just a little bit of a rundown, and I am going to put in the chat both a link to our webpage and also if you'd like to schedule a call to get more information about the program with me, and also my email. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Samantha. That was great. And I also want to thank Simon for the amazing presentation. You both gave us so much information that we can use, and what great programs in Israel. I would like to now open the floor for any questions that our guests have. Yeah. Anybody with questions, and our presenters would like to answer anything you might have. No questions? Okay. So what we're going to do, I think I would love to send you an email with presenters' information. The program organizers information with the links that they've posted here, and how you can reach them. And yeah, thank you very much. I think our time is up, and thank you all for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you, and I hope that we gave you some insight into Israel and Masa programs in Israel. Both programs, like I said, have a grant towards these programs that brings the fee much less than what it will be. So you can contact me, or I'll email you with my contact details. Thank you very much, and have a good night all, and be safe and healthy.
Thank you, Livna.
Thank you, everybody. Chag Sameach, everyone. Have a happy Purim.
Chag Sameach. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.